9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to DFW Roundtable Podcast, Texas' most powerful and entertaining podcast, bringing you the best and entertaining interviews from the industry's top music entertainers, sports athletes, and much more. So grab a seat and a cold one and watch, listen, and enjoy. And now here is your host, Ruben Campos.
And welcome back to the DFW Roundtable Podcast. Saludos para todos allá, nuestros seguidores. Vamos a empezar mandando saludos inmediatamente para los nuevos seguidores que tenemos a Barranquilla, Colombia, Santa Marta, Colombia, Veracruz, México. Un saludito a Veracruz. Veracruz, ahí lo vamos a ver en julio, si Dios quiere. Parece que los invitaron a hacer el show en Veracruz. Allá vamos a andar con ustedes en Veracruz. Durango, México, Monclovia, Coahuila, Monterrey, estamos hablando de San Nicolás, Escobedo y Apodaca. Muchísimas gracias por sintonizarse al show. Y es un gran honor introducir a esta persona. De veras que yo tengo mucho de seguir, no nomás al grupo, pero a esta persona. Un honor, este invitado especial. Estamos hablando del Palomino Mayor, Johhny Arreola. Johhny, muchísimas gracias, mano.
Well, gracias por invitarme, gracias por esta entrevista. It's an honor to be a part of your show, ¿verdad? Mandarle un saludo a toda la gente que nos está viendo, nos está escuchando, nos están viendo, ¿verdad? Mi nombre es Johhny Arreola, el Palomino Mayor. Formé parte del grupo Los Palominos, o más bien son mis hermanitos, o era mi grupo, ¿verdad? Y ahora andan ellos, todavía andan viajando, ¿no? Todavía andan tocando y andan de gira, y es algo interesante, ¿verdad? Porque mucha gente me dice, he leído en muchos lugares o comentarios, se pelearon. ¿Qué pasó? Se pelearon, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Luego empiezan con eso, ¿verdad? Pero no, ¿verdad? Pero sí, el chisme, ¿cómo se dice? Corre bien de volada, ¿no? Bien rápido, y toda la gente se da cuenta. No, estamos bien, creo que más conectados que nunca, pero
Gracias
ahora
a Dios.
yo con esto de lo que vamos a platicar ahorita.
Sí, hermano, no, y muchísimas gracias. El honor todo es mío, Johhny. Como digo, yo he sido seguidor, primeramente que nada, con los Palominos, ¿no? Man, what an honor, man, for the Palominos. When the Palominos started, man, I still remember that day, brother. I was living in Corpus Christi when Corazón de Cristal came out, and oh man, that song, man, captured everybody, bro. And then from there, I mean, you guys just took off, brother. And the name was known, pero not really that known in Tejano when Corazón de Cristal came out, ¿verdad? Porque ustedes, los Palominos, ya existían, ¿no, brother? Before you guys exploded, ¿verdad?
Así es. Déjame te hago la plática para llegar a ese momento, ¿no?
Sí,
cuando
claro.
empezamos nosotros, yo soy el mayor, somos todos hermanos, ¿verdad? Yo soy el mayor, luego sigue mi hermano Jesse, quien falleció pues ya tiene más de 20 años, en 2001 que tuvimos un accidente. Luego sigue James, que es el vocalista. Luego George, que es el del bass, el del bajo eléctrico.
Uh-huh.
Y ahorita, pues Julio, ¿verdad? Que es el más chico de la familia. Entonces, en ese tiempo, pues Julio todavía estaba muy chiquillo, pero cuando empezamos el grupo, antes de empezar el grupo, yo tenía 8 años. I was 8 years old cuando mi papá llegaba del trabajo, porque él era músico en la época de los 60, 70, y llegaba del trabajo, ¿verdad? Y iba y compraba un seisito, ¿verdad? Y lo ponía en la mesa, agarraba la guitarra, empezaba a cantar canciones de José Alfredo, ¿verdad? Canciones como, pues, muchas canciones, ¿no? La Media Vuelta y muchas cosas, muchas canciones. Que me recuerdo que yo me ponía en coliquillas, I would kneel down in front of him, ¿verdad? Viéndolo. Y me quedaba...
admirándolo nomás, ¿no?
Sí, admirándolo tocar y viéndolo.
Sí.
Y dije, wow, yo quisiera hacer un día eso. Hasta que un día me pregunta mi papá, dice, ¿quieres aprender a tocar la guitarra? Y yo, bueno, digo, sí. Dijo, bueno, a ver, hazte para acá. Mira, me empezó a empezar unos 2, 3 tonos ahí, y le agarré de volada. Me dijo, oye, mira, le agarraste de volada. Y ahí se fue, ¿verdad? Entonces, ya para la edad de 11, 12 años, me sacó un bass, el bajo eléctrico me enseñó también, la batería, tenía ahí un teclado y le picaba un poquito y lo agarré yo solo. Entonces yo era el único músico, ¿verdad? Y me decía mi papá, yo sé que estás muy interesado en la música, y si algún día tú quieres hacer un grupo, enséñale a tus hermanos. Tienes muchos hermanos, pues teníamos todos chiquitos, todos
Right.
maybe a year apart.
Wow.
And Me decía mi papá, enséñale a tus hermanos porque así, yo te voy a decir, yo batallaba mucho con los músicos cuando yo soy el único de mi familia. Dice, batallaba mucho, we have a hard time keeping my band together. Entonces dice, la unidad es muy importante. Dice, solo enseña a tus hermanos y algún día, a lo mejor si llegan a hacer algo, empiezan a tocar, pues no te fallan de perdido y siempre son fieles, están contigo. Entonces, pues yo empecé y el primero que empezó fue James. Y antes de que Jesse, fíjate, él fue el que empezó, dice James, pues empezamos a cantar. Yo tenía, pues esto ya, vamos poquito para atrás, yo tenía 9 años. Empezaba a cantar y una de las primeras canciones que cantamos era Un día a la vez. Otra de las canciones, varias canciones que yo sé que hay gente que están escuchando, canciones que escuchábamos en aquel tiempo, canciones viejitas, ¿no? Y mi papá nos enseñaba a cantar. Yo empecé a cantar y mi papá al trabajo, ¿no? Y en eso yo estaba ya enseñando a James, ¿verdad? Y
Ajá.
le decía, James, vente, vamos a cantar. A ver, pues, ¿a cuál? Dice, pues esta. Y empezaba, bueno, mira, voy a cantar, hazme segunda. Y decía, pues no sé cómo. Le dije, bueno, tú canta, yo te segundeo. Since I was older, right,
Ándale.
I knew what I was doing.
Right.
I was 2 years older
Exactly.
than him. Y así
Yeah.
se quedó. So se quedó, he became the lead singer, right?
I was just gonna say, man. Wow.
That's how he
Fíjate.
became, porque mucha gente dice, tú también cantas, puedes cantar. Le dije, pues, that's how we started. Le dije, so
Right.
now it took so many years que yo hiciera my own thing for people to see that I'm a singer too, right? Pero
Right. Right.
entonces, se quedó la voz como James el de la voz, yo era el de la segunda voz. Y por eso mucha gente donde quiera que íbamos, they would tell us, wow, las voces impresionantes, like,
Hey.
your vocals are like to the T. Pues era
Yes.
porque éramos dos vocalistas cantando en primera y
Hey.
segunda, ¿no? And por eso mucha gente, eso fue una de las claves de Palominos, de que la gente, los que escuchaba, they would hear us and were like, wow, y'all's voices are like awesome.
Absolutely, man. Yep.
And I remember that empezamos así a los 9, a los 11, 12 años, ya empezamos a George, al bass, lo sentamos en una silla porque estaba muy grande para él, lo poníamos y se sentaba a agarrar el bass y ahí empezaba a tocar, ¿verdad? And Jesse ya tocaba las drums un poquillo y empezamos así, ya, yo tenía I was maybe 13, 14 years old. Yeah, you can picture 14, 13, 12, 11. The band,
Wow.
we're already starting to
Wow.
play quinceañeras, weddings, parties and stuff. And
A esa
and
edad,
starting to,
fíjate.
yeah, and start playing songs así de Ramón Ayala, Los Tigres, de los dos Gilbertos, de stuff like that, right? All the way to high school. Yeah, during high school, yo agarré más el keyboard and I started messing around with different things and we started playing songs. En aquel tiempo andaba muy fuerte La Mafia más,
Ujú.
Ram Herrera, back in
Sí.
estamos hablando the late 80s, 80, 86, 87,
7.
88.
Yep.
Y David Mares con todas esas canciones que andaban ellos pegando en aquel tiempo y we would play all these songs, so we would play a lot of covers. Back in the day no había DJs, so we would play all these songs, so they would hire us for quinceañeras, weddings and stuff like that, me acuerdo que ya fue en el 89 que tuvimos la oportunidad de abrir el show para la mafia, porque back in the day no había Facebook, no había YouTube, no había
Nada,
nada de
hermano.
eso. So
Yes.
to get known or to get noticed, pues un promotor de aquí de Uvalde hizo un baile en Kerrville, como él era originario de Kerrville, dijo, voy a llevar a la mafia para Kerrville y me di cuenta que la mafia anda buscando una opening, like a talent. Y dijo, and I think that y'all are the right fit. Dice, they haven't, I mean, nadie los ha escuchado a ustedes, y ustedes son de
Right.
aquí de Uvalde, ¿quién nos va a conocer, right? Dice, yo los voy a juntar con la mafia y para que la mafia los vea. See, the first time the mafia saw us was back in 89. It was a 5 de mayo, I remember. And se quedaron like, wow, like, y lo mismo. Wow, los vocals, decía Mando. Man, what y'all can do, man, I can produce y'all, que el otro. Are you recording
Ujú.
with anybody? Le dije, no, nobody. We had just fresh out of high school. And me dice, well, we'll call you, ahorita deja que se termine el año, we'll call you in the beginning of the year. Ya eran 90. In January, they called us, we got together. They started, working with us in the studio. And ¿sabes qué? Miramos a calar esta canción. Una de ellas era En un buque de rosas. En un buque de
No.
rosas. And digo, vamos a see what we can do with this. Dice, porque dice Mando, I see y'all as a young, back in the day, the only accordion band that would be played on the radio was Ramón Ayala.
Right.
The only
Right.
norteño accordion bajo
Right.
sexto. Back in the day, it was all keyboards.
Sí.
And they say, I see y'all like the next generation of Ramón Ayala, because back in the day, pues, you're back in those times and you can't remember, or you can't not remember, but you can't, like, pues uno no puede ver al futuro, ¿verdad? Pero sí te puedes imaginar and whatever. El Mando Lichtenberger would say, man, I see y'all as, if we can produce y'all right and the right songs and whatever, man, we'll have a Ramon Ayala, like another branch or another, that kind of thing. That was a focus. So we recorded the first album and presented it to Sony. We changed our name to Los Palominos because it wasn't Los Palominos back in the day. And from then, we did that album y nada. Like we couldn't get airplay. We go to radio stations that would say, y'all are son tejanos, no podemos tocar aquí en las estaciones mexicanas. Las
Right.
estaciones tejanas were like, ya sound too norteño, we can't play out here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we would cut in the middle, brother. So pasó el tiempo. El segundo álbum de Norte al Sur, we got a little airplay with Mis Dos Amores, No Sabes Amar, those kind of songs. Very little. And the third album, I remember, was back in '93. We recorded the whole album de Corazón de Cristal. And Mando, in fact, this song, Corazón de Cristal, was a song that Mando had received for them from a writer from Mexico. Oscar didn't like it. Like he said, no, esta canción no. And once we were recording, entró al studio, dijo, hey, Mando, whose song is that? Dijo, I presented to you. It's from this writer, so-and-so. Man, that's a nice song. Like, well,
Yeah.
ya la grabaron estos, ya la grabaron ellos. So we had recorded everything with accordion, brother. Todo lo grabamos con acordeón. Me acuerdo que se presentó, pues lo acabamos todo el disco. And we had a little bit of everything. We had songs like Apostea Ganá, because we were trying different things. In other words, Bajo Sexto, dije, man, maybe that's not, Bajo Sexto wasn't in Tejano back in the day.
Right, right.
Te pones a pensar back in 1990, if you were La Fiebre, you were in La Sombra, Ram,
Yes.
David Lee, you went into on radio, man.
Right.
And you had to be Ramon Ayala, And me acuerdo que Mando dice, man, there's something about the song. I hate for this song to go to waste, for people just see the DJs to see the song and say, oh, Los Palominos, and they put it, hear the accordion, and they're going to throw it. They're not going to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Dijo, Mando, let me sleep on it. So the next day he came in the studio. Dijo, you know what, Johhny, let's redo all the cumbias. One of the cumbias was Corazón de Cristal. The other one was Ven y Baila. And the third one was No Quiero Volver, No Quiero Volver. That song. So we redid all the cumbias, and Mando took out, dijo, look, I'm going to, during Into the Future tour, ¿se escucha? ¿Me estás escuchando?
Ahí está, brother. Hey.
Ahí está.
It's okay because we're recording. We can edit, so we'll pick it up. One of those songs, one of those. The first one was Corazón de Cristal. We'll pick it up from there.
Okay, yep. Corazón de Cristal. And we had to do the three songs, or Mando said, let's do the songs again, the three songs. So one of them was Corazón de Cristal, the other one was Ven y Baila, the third one was No Quiero Volver.
Man, all three of them big hits, man.
All were hit songs, right? But back in the day, we were like, they were all accordion songs. And Mando said, you know what? He took out a keyboard. They had used this keyboard and then one Korg on the Into the Future album. He said, I'm looking for an organ sound, something different, like something real simple, nothing extravagant, nothing strings or anything like that.
I was just going to ask you about that, man. That sound.
He told me, he said, look, I found this sound. He said, do you remember? He said, it's not exactly, but it's kind of like the same idea as back in the day, andaba pegando bronco bien fuerte. Que no quede huella, que no quede,
yes.
Just a real simple keyboard sound. Yep. Not the same one, but, kind of like
similar.
Said, I want it to be like an accordion sound, like an accordion, but in a keyboard. So we went in the studio and did that. And we put in that, le quitamos el acordeón, le pusimos la guitarra and keyboards. And we redid the songs. And we were like, the first one said, Mando, man, we gotta smash it. And yo la oía, dije yo, to me, right?
Right.
That's not us. Because we were used to accordion, dude.
Yes.
And he said, that's not us. Pero se oía bien la song. But only Mando knew, because he already knew, he had a vision,
Right.
Y us, pues, green, jóvenes, young. I was like maybe 22, 23 years old. I didn't know what to expect, brother. So, we were just putting all our faith in Mando, what he believed. And there you have it. That song was the first single. Mando put his everything in it. Dijo, you know what? He focused on with Sony Records during that time to push it. This is the song, boom, boom. And the rest is history, brother. That song
I
was the song that really opened the doors for us
I agree,
everywhere.
brother. Kicked it open, brother, because de allí agarró fuego, man. Porque como dices tú, ese álbum tuvo fantástico, mano, porque tuvieron
It,
hit after hit off of that album, man. Benny
it, it,
Baila was another
it,
huge one, man.
exactly. That album, salió la canción, ¿verdad? Y me acuerdo que, this is something very important, and interesting for people that are listening. Back in the day, como dije, if you were Ramón Ayala y los Bravos del Norte,
Yeah,
KXTN, Kick FM, all these stations, KSAB, todas las estaciones grandes de música tejana back in the day, estaba fuerte tejano.
sí estaba.
No te iban a tocar. You wouldn't get in the door.
Right.
And Corazón de Cristal kind of like, what is this? Is this norteño? This is not norteño. It has keyboards. What is it? And so
Yep.
they played it. So the song
Yeah.
got played, and then after ya que, what, we're looking for the second single. What do you want for the second single? Yo de volada, let's do Todos Lloramos. And, Todos Lloramos, the label didn't want to go with it because no, it sounds too
Es
norteño. No,
conjunto.
it sounds
Yeah.
too different than Corazón Cristal. Y'all already have all the momentum. Y'all gonna lose it. Y yo no, dije, no, okay, let's meet in the middle. You know what? Let's do one with No Bajo Sexto with the guitarra. So we did Aposté a Ganar. Aposté a Ganar was the second single, brother.
Which was
And boom, that song, it not only opened doors here more, it kind of opened more the door here in the United States, pero en México.
en México
Esa sí
también. Sí.
nos abrió las puertas en Monterrey, en todo lo que era la frontera de México. Y me acuerdo que era un trancazo la canción. And, otra cosa importante de que en ese tiempo, cuando empezó a tocarse esa canción, a little bit after that, maybe a couple of months, 2, 3 months later, sale Michael Salgado con la Cruz de Madera.
There
In
you
other
go.
words, no le daban chance a los grupos de acordeón, pero because that song entered, le dieron chance a los grupos de acordeón.
Yep.
Tropa F. During that time, Tropa
Yes.
F, you would only hear Arcoiris.
Yes, the keyboard one. Yep.
And then after that, salió Corazón Herido.
Right.
And then after that, salió La Mentira, Intocable. A lot of these accordion bands started getting played on the radio. So
Man,
yo
you're just
pienso que-
bringing back you're just bringing back a lot of memories, Johhny, as far as the process.
And you know what? And then if you check the dates, va a estar, no te estoy echando mentiras,
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
days.
You're right.
We opened the door. And no me doy el crédito, pero we opened the door for a lot of the next generation
Yeah.
of what Mando had already the vision, dice Mando en ese tiempo, back in 91, cuando empezamos con el primer álbum, dice Mando, I feel that in 10 years, or maybe less, accordion's going to dominate Tejano.
Boom.
Y fíjate,
Boom.
pero he was saying it in the middle of, no hay nada de acordeón.
Nada.
But
Ni
fíjate la
bajo
vision.
sexto menos, brother, menos.
That's what I always believe, and I always knew Mando and Mafia and them were always ahead of their time. Man.
Yes.
I always knew.
Yes.
Or they kind of like, man, are these guys fortune tellers?
Pero-
like, te quedabas pensando.
Pero fíjate, Johhny, cómo tocó la casualidad que you had that opportunity, man, to open up for him.
Yes.
And
Como
then,
que era una
un destino, ¿no? Un destino.
Exactly. It was fate. It was, it was one of those things that, porque este promoter se hizo amigo de nosotros porque él era de Kerrville, se murió a Uvalde. He passed away a few years ago, pero se llamaba Jesse Cruz. And él hacía bailes en Uvalde for the longest time. Él todo el tiempo hacía los bailes grandes, traía más a la Mafia, a la Sombra, all those bands, right? And me acuerdo que he would put us to open up for some of these bands. Y cuando los oyó de primero dijo, man, ¿dónde salieron ustedes? Y así, ¿no? And he became friends of us. He became
Right.
friends with my dad, right? Y cuando se le oyó la oportunidad esa, dijo, man, I gotta get La Mafia to hear you. I gotta get La Mafia to hear you. So it was because of him, man. And
That's
it
awesome.
was, there's a story behind it that me acuerdo que me dice, man, they want to open for you. Y I think they wanted to give us like $400, right? To open up. Y pues nosotros thrilled, right? My dad, él que manejaba a nosotros, right? It's a story acá, more personal, right?
Ajá.
Pero, como te digo, I'll be siempre porque ya todo esto pasó en el pasado, right?
Sí.
Mi papá decía, no, si quieren, my dad was in his ways, right? Decía,
Right.
no, pues si quieren, yo miraba la oportunidad a los 20, 21 años. Y mi
Right.
papá decía, no, si no les dan, yo quiero 500, si no, no. And I was like, yo, entre mí, dije, you
Yeah,
serious,
no
Dad?
debt. Yeah.
Look at this opportunity, Dad. Dije, no, no,
Right.
no, si Dios quiere. And I was like, man, I was like, I don't know what to do. So I went behind my dad's back, and I called this guy, and I told him, agency, I mean, I know what you're trying to do, man, but my dad, man, I don't know. I mean, ya sé que tú le dijiste que pues a ver, right? You know what he did? That guy dijo, you know what, Johnny? Yo pongo los $100 de mi pocket.
Wow.
I'm gonna wait a day and I'll call your dad back and I'll tell him, hey, sí les van a dar los 500. And that's, por eso I would thank him. Every time I would see that guy, I would say, man, brother, thank you for what you did. Dijo, no, I didn't have to, y él sí, él solo decía, I didn't have to do anything. I knew y'all were destined to be who you are.
That's
And I said,
amazing,
yeah,
man.
man, but don't you understand you're a big pinnacle of,
Oh, yeah, man.
what happened.
Yeah.
Pero, aside from that, el pasado pasó eso, y es como conectamos con la mafia. And then now we were in the Corazón de Cristal. And that's how, little do we know, we changed Tejano music to where it is now. Now it's pura acordeon, like the
Oh,
majority, right?
oye, Johnny, the thing about it, brother, the thing I love about Palominos when it first came out, como dices tú, el sonido fue muy distinto. The keyboards are nothing fancy, no special keyboard sounds or anything else. Very, very unique. La guitarra también, it was very simplistic, very clean. Then
Exactly.
the harmonization comes in. It's like it blew everybody away, bro. Por eso tú dices tú, pues es Tejano, and then the accordion comes in on the pues Tejanar. It's like, what? You got the best of both worlds, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was tremendous, man. And oh, pues ven y baila, man. Wow, it's like that was another big one.
Yeah. That album had son 10 canciones, right? Y that album had 8 singles. I've never seen an album have 8 singles. Una
Yeah.
era Corazón de Cristal, Aposté a Ganar, No Quiero Volver, Ven y
Hey.
Baila, Todos Lloramos, and then on the other, that's 5 already, and then we had, ¿cómo se llama la canción esta de No Quiero Volver? And then,
No quiero volver. Yeah.
Quise olvidar aquella, that song. It was like 8 singles on that album. Y dije, wow, like, adelante, adelante, corazón, adelante. That song también, all those songs, that album duró a year and 8 months, casi 2
Oh
años.
my goodness. Le
Y
sacaron
para,
bastante.
para cuando preparamos el otro, ¿verdad? And en el otro, pues es cuando estábamos nosotros, well, this album's going to make us or break us, the next one, right? And
Right.
we kind of went with the same, that's where we learned that, consistency is the key. Why? Because you don't want, ya sabíamos que no éramos one hit wonders, pero
Mm-hmm.
maybe one album wonders that pensábamos nosotros.
Right. Right.
Pero we went with the same recipe and everything. Like we did La Llama. La Llama was like an aposté a ganar. We did El Ganador, tan solo El
Hey.
Ganador. All those songs, right? And y pues todas fueron. And then we did one a duet with Little Joe, que también fue
Me
one of those
acuerdo.
a
Yeah.
little extra there, right? Pero it was complete album también y otro éxito.
Yo me acuerdo, brother, cuando empezaron, ¿verdad? Todavía no salía Corazón de Cristal. I remember seeing you guys. You had a little trailer, man.
Yes.
Tenían una trailita you guys would pull. Then I remember going to a festival in South Texas. You guys were in a bus, bro. I was like, watch los Palominos ya traen voz, man. It's like, but at that time, you guys were just knocking in at the door. I believe you guys were working on your second album already. Pero cuando anunciaron que Mando was your producer,
right.
I was like, no wonder, man. I'm with you. Mando can see the future and is a tremendous producer, man. Not only musically, but he, like como dices tú, he could see the future, man.
He was, ¿me escuchas?
Sí, yes, sir.
Connection problem there. Pero sí, como digo, es una cosa que, como dijimos, ¿verdad? No podemos decir ahora que, what I do in what I'm doing now for God and everything, he aprendido muchas cosas. No es suerte, it's already, lo miro yo, es como Dios ya nos conoce a nosotros. He already knew us before we were born. So, él ya conocía la carrera que íbamos a hacer, él sabía que iba a ser yo, él sabía que at one day I was going to, lead the band to do what I'm doing now, Todo está escrito, in other words, that's going to happen.
There you go.
And, y digo, Dios no se equivoca, there's no mistakes. Y por eso digo que el éxito que hemos tenido, pues le agradezco a Dios, ¿verdad? Porque Él es el culpable de que estamos ahorita, que estamos
Ujú.
platicando de esto,
Sí.
yo era el que siempre, ah, como el mayor, hermano mayor, yo me entendía de todo, I'm the one that was in charge of all the stuff that we did and all the PR and stuff, that we done, de mis hermanos eran los, right there, se quedaban, pues a ver qué iba a hacer yo, that kind of like, "Oye, Johhny, pues, ¿qué va a pasar?" And they were
Right,
one of those things.
right.
But this is, I'm 25, 26 years old, and then they're all younger, right? Pero looking up at their older brother, right? Y ahora, pues, le agradezco a Dios, ¿verdad? Que that was my worry, ya cuando ya, I, wa- I was going through this, I was going through this thing, ¿me escuchas?
Sí, ajá, sí te escucho.
Ya que I was going through this, yo me hallé en una situación de que ¿cómo le voy a hacer? Porque this is a family business,
Right, right.
It became a family business to where this is all we did since we came out of high school, como te estoy platicando. We
Ujú.
started and things started happening for us. Y como digo, it wasn't a mistake, pero God already knew what was going to happen. Pero esto que empezamos, pues ya eran 30 años, And,
Hijo, wow,
you know
30
what I mean?
years, brother. Yes.
Ya son 30 años and también otra de las cosas también, yo sometimes you get burned out and stuff that
Yeah.
you've done for so many years, no matter if you love it,
Mhm.
y yo la veía así, ¿verdad? Como hermano mayor, yo tenía toda responsabilidad siempre. I guess it kind of took a toll on me. No que amo mi público, amo mis fans, porque se nos dio mucho trabajo, como platicamos, para
Sí.
llegar, to get to where we were.
Oh, no doubt, man.
And
No
we
hay
love
nada
our
vale.
fans.
30 años, brother, is a long time, man. Especialmente en el camino, ¿verdad?
Exactly.
Uno que ya sabe por lo que, artistas pasan o grupos pasan, ¿verdad? En el camino,
Right.
es una vía muy acelerada. Y,
Exactly.
and also, man, it's lonely because you're away from your family on holidays. You're away
Exactly.
from your family on their birthdays or whatever, man. You miss quite a bit. 30 años de
Exactly.
esos, hermano. Es quite a bit, brother. 30 years. Now,
Exactly.
tomates tu paso, hermano. Ya hablamos de la época cuando empezó Palominos, el Success. Estamos hablando Grammys y todo eso también que se han ganado los Palominos. Pero tomates una decisión muy importante tú, Johhny, en tu vida, que fue dirigirle a tu hermano, ¿sabes qué? Hasta aquí llegó. Ya como hermano mayor, yo voy a ser, algo más y
Mhm.
decidiste servirle a Dios, ¿no?
Amen. Yes, es lo que pasó, ¿verdad? Pero como dijimos, ¿verdad? Estamos platicando hay muchos años, ¿verdad? Todavía que pasaron, ¿verdad? Ahora, muchas cosas que pasaron desde de donde dejamos ahorita de platicar. Left the story,
Right.
de Corazón de Cristal and the album and many albums que vinieron after that. And the last album that we did for Sony was Por Eso Te Amo, back in
Oh, yeah.
1999. So we
Yes.
recorded so many albums. Era de Corazón de Cristal vino El Ganador, which was tenía La Llama, Las Nubes with Lil Joe, and then after that viene el disco de Duele el Amor, de Me Viene Duele el Amor, La Carta que Nunca Envié, a bunch of Ya No Existe that we did with Oscar de la Rosa, and Eres Lo Que Más Quiero, a bunch of hits that we did, and después de eso, pues no digo hits que we did, porque the people are the ones that make the hits, right? And a little bit after that, Te Seguiré. During the Te
Yeah.
Seguiré album, right before we recorded the Te Seguiré album, porque this is back in, estamos hablando en 1996, 97. Estábamos preparándolo, ya andábamos de gira con el disco de Duele el Amor. And me acuerdo que my brother got sick, Jesse got sick.
Mhm.
And we didn't know what was going on porque he's just started getting weak and, no, a veces no podía ni caminar porque he was so weak. Me acuerdo que en uno de esos terminamos el tour on a Sunday, I guess. We came back. Monday, we put him in the hospital. Tuesday, they let us know that he's lacking so much blood.
Oh,
And they
wow.
do run some of the tests and whatever, and they found out he had leukemia. And this is 97. Y me acuerdo que la label was like, hey, we need the next album already. We need the next album. Ya, Duele el Amor has been out for so long. This is gonna be 98. So Julio, my brother, he was running sound at the time.
Mm.
He's the youngest brother. He was maybe 98. He's maybe 21 years old. He's young. Y me acuerdo que he dice, pues qué sé, porque I had taught him, since he was little. He was maybe 9. He's 9 years younger than me. So he's 9, I'm 18. And I was always with empezando me venía a ensayar after school, whatever, él me seguía.
Uh-huh.
So I
Yeah.
would teach him, hey, Julio, look, my dad would always tell me, hey, enseña a los chiquillos, Johhny, porque nunca sabes qué puede pasar.
Right.
Tenemos dos hermanos, que es Julio and Johhny now. Johhny is the one that runs sound now. But that time, Julio's the youngest. Y the brightest, porque since he was little, he's 3 years old, he was already singing.
Oh.
So yo lo miraba como que se le quedaba todo bien de volada. So me lo traba al practice room and, hey, enséñame esto, enséñame acá, enséñame. A ver el acordeón. Y I taught him all the instruments. He can play all the instruments. Y me acuerdo que cuando we had to record the album, Jesse couldn't. He was sick. Y me acuerdo que we were about to use La Mafia's drummer to record the album. Y yo le dije a James, hey James, pues, let Julio try it out. Julio plays. They didn't even know. They just thought he was a sound guy.
Right.
Le dije, no, I know because I taught him. Dijo, a ver, vamos a calarlo. So we tried him out that Friday, porque this was Wednesday in the hospital. That Friday, he rehearsed maybe a couple of days. On Friday, we were playing in Corpus Christi at the Yellow Rose.
Wow.
Me acuerdo,
Wow.
and me acuerdo que todavía era the Duele el Amor tour, porque we would start the show with Ya No Existe, and me acuerdo que he was all like scared, porque pues mucha gente,
Well,
he
see,
was like,
yeah.
dijo, I'm at the other end now, I'm looking at the people.
Looking at
So,
the audience now, yeah.
Yeah, and then the label at the same time trying to apurarnos para el álbum. So le dije, ¿sabes qué? Pues let's try him out. We'll try him out in the studio. So Julio recorded the Te Seguiré album. Nobody knows that.
Wow, man.
Julio recorded the Te Seguiré album. Then came, there's a good trivia question for people there. What album, in what album do all los Palominos are wearing hats? In this the Te Seguiré album. When you look at the Te Seguiré album,
That's a perfect one, man.
That's
I'm
the
glad
only
you said
album
that. That's a
all
really
of us
good
wear
one.
hats, because it's only me and James wearing hats. That's the only album, and the reason why, también, let me tell you that, me acuerdo que he had just came out of his chemo treatment, and he lost all his hair.
There you go.
So he lost all his hair, but we wanted him on the album because we didn't want to change things for fans.
Well, see,
Back in
right.
the day, we didn't want to change. Oh, they got a new different drummer,
Right.
So we said, you know what, Jesse, you up for the picture? Yeah, I think I'm up, porque estaba poco weak. He was a little thinner and stuff. Y decía, yeah, I'm ready. Okay, let's do it. So what are we going to do? Pues, ¿cómo le vamos a hacer? Porque he had a paño, right? Le digo, well, you're not going to wear a paño. Well, pues I don't have hair. Le digo, well, let's figure something out. So we got him one of those, ¿cómo se llaman? Peluca or whatever.
Oh, sí, la peluca. Ajá.
Yeah, and se la cortaron more or less his hairstyle, whatever, but he has straight hair, so it didn't look right. Like it doesn't look like your hair. It looks a little wavy. You don't have wavy hair.
Right.
He said, bueno, and my idea was like, hey, Mando, porque Mando was always at the photo session and stuff. The hey, Mando, what if we all wear hats? Hey, you know what, Johhny? That's a good idea. Así con el hat no se le nota el hair, and he's just wearing hats. Okay, so we did it that way. That's the only reason that album.
Wow, man. That's it sin saber uno, ¿verdad? Pero it's true, man. You guys are on the hats. That's interesting, bro.
Exactly. Y pues te digo, ya después de ese disco viene el de Por Eso Te Amo. Jesse's back on recording. Now Jesse recorded that album. Por Eso Te Amo was our first nomination to a Grammy, and we got the first American Grammy. And then the first Latin Grammys were held, and we won the first Latin Grammy with that same album. So that's another trivia. The only album that's won 2 Grammys.
Both. Yeah.
American and Latino.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
So, a lot of things were happening, nosotros, pues, yeah, we went through that little slump that we saw, with my brother. And then we changed labels and we started recording with Fonovisa. Due to a lot of things, that we saw that we started touring out of Texas and going on into the Carolinas, to Florida, to New York, to Delaware. We started going different states. The product wasn't there. We saw that
Ah,
they didn't have product for Sony, but they had product for Fonovisa. They had product for, so we started looking at other labels, and we were almost at the end of the contract. There was no more albums, so we went with Fonovisa. The first album was Mi Obsesión,
oh yeah.
and we did. Uh, we understood that they looked at the whole. Their marketing plan was very different, to where they concentrated on more of a ballad kind of thing, instead of cumbias and rancheras. So we recorded Mi Obsesión. There's another trivia there. Who wrote Obsesión? Mi Obsesión is written by Oscar Iván Treviño from Duelo.
Oh,
Back in the day, he was in Duelo. He was only 16 years old. But
beautiful song. Beautiful song.
yeah, yeah, and that song, and that wasn't even the first single. The first single was Te Quiero Más. Dice Te Quiero Más, and and after that, boom, another smash with Mi Obsesión. And then we did another couple of albums for Fonovisa, pero right after that album, I mean, with that album first, salió el album, and we were like everywhere, and then the TV campaign, cómpralo ya, es Fonovisa, and blah, blah, blah. It just took us to another level. Everywhere we went, brother,
Sí.
we had to close doors. We
Yeah.
let people outside that no podían entrar, and,
Wow.
and we had to hike the prices, yet ni así, and especially porque se juntaban los mexicanos con los tejanos,
Oh yeah.
iban los dos, both públicos iban a vernos,
Sí.
y me acuerdo que a veces en lugares se armaban los pleitos, una vez estábamos en Colorado, en Greeley, Colorado, se armó un pleito ahí because se juntaron tejanos y mexicanos. Pues no
Hey.
viene la promotora y me dice, ya no los vuelvo a traer. Y le digo, ¿por qué? Dijo, porque ¿por qué no me dijeron que ustedes eran tejanos? Porque they didn't know we were tejanos, right? Because they took us over there because they thought we were this big norteño sensation, right?
Right.
Pero not knowing that the tejanos out there wanted to go see us too.
Oye, brother,
know,
isn't that funny? Isn't that funny, Johhny? Ya que estamos en eso, before we move forward, we're
Yeah.
almost going through that same situation right now, brother, because, and really and truly, in my eyes, man, there's very little distinction. Porque at the end of the day, ahí tienes un buen ejemplo tú. A ustedes pensaban que eran norteños y no eran norteños,
Exactly.
¿verdad? Eran tejanos.
Right.
So
Exactly.
music to me, man, it intertwines. Y ahorita hoy en día está como Grupo Frontera. También han abrido puertas, muchísimas puertas, muchachos tienen muchos éxitos, pero es la música, and we can relate to that because I hear a lot of your style in theirs, man. Like, ¿me entiendes?
They probably were inspired, yeah. They probably were inspired, right? By our style, ¿verdad?
I truly believe it, man, in that style, ¿verdad?
Y hay muchos grupos que han salido, ¿verdad? Y sí, yo he visto, y los mismos grupos nos han dicho, hey, if we weren't for y'all, like Sólido, Signo, all these bands, Intenso, were bands that when we were opening for Mafia, and then de repente we went on our own to the Valley, we started hitting en el Valle fuerte, back in the early 90s. Y pues estaban chavalones todos estos chavidos. And then de repente salen grupos, pero salieron, es música tejana, pero son de acordeón,
Yes,
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about, that it's a mixture y la gente ya no saben ni si es norteño. Ahora, si te pones a comparar Pesado con Intocable, es la misma música, pero Intocable es tejano, ¿por qué? Porque son de aquí. Right. You know what I mean? Because son Mexican Americans, right?
That's right.
Y los de Pesado pues son de Monterrey.
Correcto.
Pero ahora, como digo, la música no tiene barreras. Ahora el Grupo Frontera, ha probado eso, doing duets with Shakira and
brother, yes.
Bad Bunny.
Yes, eso es otro ejemplo con Bad Bunny. Por eso digo, no tiene fronteras.
Exactly.
Y es lo bonito de la música, mano.
Exacto, y nada más que era falta de... Yo pienso que es más el marketing, porque el marketing quiere decir mucho, porque ya cuando te hacen marketing como un grupo como un grupo de la talla de Maná, for example, pues of course you're going to reach that audience. Y la gente latina no tienen, in other words, they like all kinds of genres of music, como nosotros, we grew up, Tejano music's composed of blues, jazz, country, rock. We listen to all kinds of music, right?
Right.
Norteño, and y mariachi, whatever. And it's crazy, right? Pero estamos en un tiempo ahorita donde toda la música ya everything is evolving together, everything está todo junto. And it's awesome. It's awesome
It is. It
porque
really is. Yeah. It really is, man. It's taken us to where we should have been a long time ago, donde todo se está mezclando.
y como digo, la falta del marketing, cuando
Ujú.
grabamos nosotros, era mi obsesión, that proved what I was thinking about right, because we were lacking distribution. Ya nada más grabamos mi obsesión, we jumped another level. Uh, we reached another audience. We reached the audience de Los Tigres, de Los Temerarios,
Yep.
because
Yep.
Fonovisa had all these bands,
Yes.
and entramos a ese otro nivel. Uh, este, and a little bit after that, we have an accident and we lose my brother. We went through un tiempo difícil en nuestras vidas, ¿verdad? Porque, pues, picture 4 or 5 little boys growing up together, kids jugando a las canicas, jugando whatever, and
Hmm.
then we're doing music. Now we're in this level in our lives, or this stage
Right.
in our lives, and then we lose a brother. Much less yo soy el mayor y él me sigue a mí.
Sí.
It hit me to the point to where, and it was at the point at our peak of our career. In other words,
Yeah.
era una. I don't want to say bittersweet, ¿verdad? Porque andábamos enjoying success, pero and then pasa una tragedia así y la ves como like wow, like te ves como que tomas la vida de una diferente manera, to where it's like what we don't realize that we're in much danger. All this, está peligroso,
Sí
pero no
está.
la ves hasta que no it hits home, and it
Right.
hits that,
Right.
porque el primero fue el golpe de leuquimia y luego el segundo golpe, de eso, right? So something right there struck me to where I said at that time, this is back in 2001, yo me pegó tan fuerte que decía, am I going to see him again? Porque they say that we're going to see our
Our loved ones
family,
again.
that
Yes.
los que se van, our loved ones. Is it
Uh-huh.
true? Yo quería estar seguro, yo quería
Yeah.
estar seguro, le preguntaba a gente, pastores and whatever, and I wasn't even in
Sí.
church, but I would ask people and I'm like, really, I want to be for sure, I want to be for sure, whatever. And como andábamos ocupados, pues se me iba de la mente y empezamos a hacer lo que estábamos haciendo y de repente otra vez se me venía a la mente. It was just kind of, in the back of my mind, but estaba ahí, se venía y se me iba y se venía. And, it made me realize, that there's more to life, than just what we were doing, porque
Right.
we're at the peak, and we, we've been to the Grammy, we having dinner with Elton John, and juntos ahí todos,
It's
whatever.
amazing, man.
And you know
Amazing.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And then this hits, you're like, wow, like, y me quedé con eso, right? And then in 2002, I go through a divorce, and when I went through the divorce, uh, I know that was porque éramos una familia muy unida,
Hmm.
nosotros. Every weekend we would come home and we were waiting to get home, and hey, ¿dónde vamos a ver el game? ¿Dónde vamos a ver los Cowboys? ¿En tu casa, mi casa? ¿Dónde hacemos la carne?
Ándale.
No, que tu casa, que el otro, whatever, right? And that started since the 90s. And me acuerdo que I went through a divorce, and then a little bit after that, I met my wife now. And I met her on the road, right? And ella estaba yendo a college in Dallas. And me acuerdo que I met her, and the guys were like, bro, hey, se hicieron bien amigos con ella y todo. Like, she was like, man, you're like my second family. And mind you, and I was en el camino, right?
Right.
Y me acuerdo que como a los 8 meses, mi mamá, they made me a birthday party. Y me dice mi mamá, hey, porque me decía todo el tiempo antes de que I met my wife, me decía, you need to find someone because no me gusta que estés solo y whatever, right? Because I was solo for a while.
Ajá.
Y después ya me dice ella, me di cuenta que tiene novia, quiero que la traigas y la presentes aquí en mis
Conocerla.
cumpleaños.
Right.
Okay, está bueno, ma. Y la llevé. But this time I took her to the family y estaban todos ahí, pero con las esposas, right? So they didn't receive her like the way they received her on the road. So
Oh,
she saw
okay.
that. She was like, hey,
Yeah.
pues llegó ahí, pues que esperaba que vinieran a abrazarla y whatever, y nadie
Sí,
se
sí,
movía.
sí. Right.
You know what I mean? You know how that goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Y me acuerdo que de ahí empecé yo a sentir oye, ¿pues dónde vamos a hacer la carne asada? ¿Dónde vamos a hacer la carne? Nadie me invitaba.
It got
Porque
quiet.
no, después me di cuenta con uno de mis brothers, pues Julio, que he was the closest one to me, porque todo el tiempo andaba conmigo desde chiquillo. Me decía, no, hombre, Johhny, no te invitan porque pues, no quieren que vaya. Si vas tú, va a ir ella y no la quieren ahí. In other words, they were judging already without knowing her.
Wow.
And empieza el drama ya ves, en todas las familias. Yo
Yeah.
sé que hay gente que me está viendo en este momento. You've gone through this situation.
Mhm.
Y más nosotros que éramos una familia muy unida, muchos puros hermanos,
Sí.
it really hurt me because I
It
was the
duele.
oldest.
Sí, sí,
Y me
duele.
dolió más porque yo siendo el mayor y ellos in other words, I was their example, their mentor,
Yes.
their older
Everything, man.
brother.
Yeah.
Y me acuerdo que pasó eso, so for like maybe 2, 3, 4 years, mejor me salía yo, llegábamos el weekend y pues, hey, le dije, let's go, she's from Corpus, let's go visit your family, and let's go visit here, let's go there, and yo me sentía solo, y me sentía like, wow, me sentía como like, I would sometimes say, man, I feel like my brother Jesse, like, I don't exist, only when we're
Right.
playing, when we're live, playing Palominos, cuando estamos on stage, we were the same people, but off
Pero off
stage,
the
yeah,
stage,
we were
yeah.
different, brother.
Sí.
Y yo empecé a sentir eso, pero yo hacía todo esto, brother, te lo voy a decir ahorita, era un plan de Dios. Todo tiene su plan, in other words, como you can't control things.
Right.
Dios tiene todo el control, in other words, no matter what you want to do, you have your plans. If they're not going to come out the way you want, because if God didn't want for it to happen, it's not going to happen. Y
That's
por
right.
eso I'm a firm believer in that. Y por eso te digo que cuando fui pasando por lo que estaba pasando, ahora, en ese tiempo no lo entendía. Yo más me sentía amargado, me sentía solo, me sentía, I
Triste.
feel all kinds of things, brother.
Mhm.
And me acuerdo que un día in 2000, that was back around 2007, that I kind of reconnected with a musician friend of mine, de muchos años, que he had started doing ministry. Y pues yo no entendía eso, right? Pero yo nomás me junté con él porque me gustaba hablar con él, platicar de música and whatever. So we started going to his house. He lived in San Antonio. So we started going, y vamos para allá, vamos para la casa de aquel. Y íbamos. And then we met other people there, neighbors from church and their church or whatever. Y yo nomás sentía, I didn't know anything. I just knew that I felt peace around him or around
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Y
Te
no
sentías
sabía
bien.
qué era, no lo entendía, brother. Nomás que yo sentía que me iba de aquí. Yeah, as soon
Mhm.
as I got closer over there, I felt awesome, brother. I just,
Yes.
in other words, everything went away
Right.
for a while.
Right. Sí.
Y estaba con él y una vez llegamos ahí, 2008, August 30th, no se me olvida el día. Llegamos ahí y no estaban ahí. So that other couple that we had met salieron. Dijeron, hey, no, they're not here. They went out of town. They had to go to, no me acuerdo para dónde. And they said they're not here. So, quieren pasarle. So le pasamos. And we started talking. De repente, I know the Holy Spirit now because empezamos a desahogarnos y platicar de lo que nos estaba pasando desde el otro.
Sí, sí.
And then I remember my wife's already asking questions, and my wife told her, what does it mean to be saved? Y le dijo, simply accept Jesus in your heart as your Lord and Savior. Everything that you're saying, that's not meant for you. It's meant for
Mhm.
Jesus. Everything. If you go into something hard, y me acuerdo que me decía, he's closer to the brokenhearted, and I know you have a broken heart right now. So God's with you. He's knocking on the door.
Right.
He's knocking on your door. Y me acuerdo que you want to pray, sí, empezamos a orar. Ese día they prayed for us, and that's when we received Jesus. And me acuerdo que de ahí empecé yo empecé a ir a la iglesia, empecé a read the Bible and
Qué bonito, brother.
get closer to God, right? Pero, it wasn't until 2017 we signed with Freddie. I think it was 2016. We signed with Freddie Records, and we recorded their first album, Piénsalo, and which, by the way, was our fourth Grammy, that we won. And this was a norteño Grammy.
Right.
We recorded the album, and then se me hizo fácil a mí decirle a Freddie, hey, can we record I want to do some karaoke pistas because I want to sing in church, whenever I get a chance. Dijo, yeah, Johhny. Y me dijo algo también que me impactó. Me dice, Johhny, aquí se trata de Dios, aquí viene primero. So si
Wow.
es algo para Dios, Johhny, you don't have to ask. Just tell me, yo te abro el estudio, whatever you want.
Mhm.
Por eso para mí la familia Martínez is like a second family to me,
I hear you, man.
And,
Yes.
¿me entiendes? Y por eso que cuando empecé a grabar eso, ya, I left, I did 5, 6 songs. I had written some. And me acuerdo que 2, 3 days later me habla Freddie y me dice, hey, Johhny, yo estaba escuchando lo que grabaste. ¿Te gustaría grabar un disco? And I was like, wow. So I
There you
started
go.
recording the first album, brother. And
Uh-huh.
the first album, de ahí empezó. Y it wasn't until 2000, que pasó in 2018, we went through my mom was, a friend of hers from the family, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Oh,
And decía que she wasn't going to go through the chemo, she was going to whatever, right? And mi mom fue a visitarla, mi papá, mi mamá. And then de vinieron, le dije, mom, ¿cómo está? Porque she was a good friend of mine too. Dice, no, bien, it was in Dimmitt, Texas, 8 hours away de aquí.
mhm.
Y le dije, bueno, pues cuando tengo una chance, yo voy y la veo. No pasó una semana, le dije, I'm gonna go. Cuando fui, llegamos ahí, she was unresponsive already. She was in
Oh, bro.
hospice. So
Jeez.
llegamos ahí, me acuerdo que estamos ahí hablando con ella, aquí estamos, and we're praying. We went there to pray. And cuando ya, make a long story short, estamos platicando ahí, la hermana, tiene una hermana que es pastora, y la hermana y sí, me dice, Johhny, a ella le gustaba que cantar coritos, alabar al Señor, and whatever, oh wow. Y dijo nomás que mi cuñado ya no quiere que le canten. In other words, he got mad. I guess he was mad at God or whatever. Y yo se me hizo fácil, dije, hey Joe, can we sing? Sí, Johhny, no, Johhny, but they were waiting for me, right? Y yo empecé a cantar y empezaron a cantar ellos, because they got the okay, so I started singing.
Right.
And a little section that I had there, like a little space to come in and sing a little piece of a song, for my first album, Un Día a la Vez. I recorded Un Día a la Vez on my first album. And me acuerdo que there was that album, she would play it like nonstop when she was going through. Y pues cuando ya estaba unresponsive, pues dije, yo voy a cantar esa canción. Y
Sí.
comencé, necesitado, y empecé a levantar las manos, like out of nowhere, she just started
Wow.
responding. And
Wow.
levantando las manos y sí así, and she was like, como que miraba para arriba, and she was looking on top of us. Y
Yeah.
mira, ¿qué está viendo? ¿Qué está
Yeah.
viendo? Y dije yo, I can only imagine what she's looking at, Y se quedaba viendo y dije, wow. Y cantamos 2, 3, 4 cantos así, and she would grab her hands. Y la hermana le decía, agárrate la mano del Señor. Y ya terminaste aquí, ya estamos todos bien, agárrate, vete con él. Y yo, all I could think was like, wow, we're grabbing to her hands and she's grabbing Jesus' hands. You know
That's
what I mean?
right. That's right.
And at the same time,
That's
me
right.
acuerdo que mi esposa, she just started praying. By that time, todo el cuarto estaba lleno de gente. Y my wife started praying the Our Father. Para cuando terminó, amen, her spirit left her.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
moment, brother. Pero yo me acuerdo que
Oh,
estaba viendo
wow.
así arriba y miraba para arriba como que she could see heaven, brother.
Sí. Yeah.
Y me acuerdo de
Yeah.
ese día, nos vinimos para atrás por Valde. Y en el camino venía yo pensando, I cannot imagine, me puedo imaginar que estaba
¿Qué
viendo.
vio? ¿Qué vio?
Right?
Yeah.
Y venía y yo dije, at that time, the movie had just came out. Yo le dije a mi esposa, I wonder if anybody recorded in Spanish. So we started searching on YouTube and this and that or whatever. We found somebody with a guitar that sang it, had translated to Spanish. And nomás llegando le hablé a Freddie, hey Freddie, can I record this song? I want to put it as an extra track on the Gracias CD. Está bueno, Johhny, grábala. Dije, pero graba unas 2. Okay. So I already had nomás un camino hay on the side for the next album, right? And las 2 las grabé. Y me habla Freddie otro día y me dice, hey Johhny, they sound too different. Can you do another CD? I said, well, no me digas 2 veces, Freddie. I'm ready.
Listo.
So
Yeah.
I went and finished the album, right? So when I went and finished the album, I finished it during the Christmas holidays. And this was 2019 or something like that. Cuando pegó 2020, me acuerdo que we were recording a video with Palominos. Me acuerdo que era mid-March, y everything, ese día estaban anunciando que everything was closing down. Los bailes, everything.
COVID. COVID.
At
Yeah.
first they said only so many people and whatever, and then de repente
Sí.
se cerró todo. Me acuerdo que we came back, then we waited June. Me habla Freddie, a couple of months passed, y me habla Freddie, hey, Johhny, I know a lot of bands are doing virtual concerts or whatever you want to do on that. We already closed the studios. Nobody's there. If you and the guys want to come in and do something for the fans. So I called my brothers up. Hey, y'all want to go do something? Yo con ansias porque yo tenía ganas de tocar. Ya, imagine, 2, 3 meses sin tocar.
Oh, sí.
Y yo, no, it's too dangerous. Y que whatever, No, está bueno. So I called Freddie back. Y le dije, Freddie, no quiere. No, I understand, Johhny. No, I understand. But I understand that you already finished the album. The second album, yeah. Dijo, well, start thinking of what single you want to release. Y le dije, okay. So my wife posted on Facebook, what's your favorite Christian song? Mind you, this time, yeah, COVID was full blast.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, this
Yeah.
is July of 2020, and people were dying left and right, And me acuerdo que a lot of people, un día a la vez, y que blah, 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 but the majority, I can only imagine.
Yep.
Porque
Beautiful
people
song.
were people are already connecting and thinking, I can only imagine where my loved ones are at, or, and stuff like that.
Yes.
Y me acuerdo que my wife dijo, ahí está, that's your first single. Puedo imaginarme. Y lo me dice Freddie, this is Freddie Jr. that I'm talking to. He said, Freddie, well, be thinking of the treatment for a video. I was like, really? A video? Like, I didn't feel worthy, brother.
But let me tell
Because
you, brother, that video también, brother, no por nada, but that video was amazing too, bro. Tú bien suave el video. Oye, si podías, no sé si tienes lucecita ahí, brother, porque te estoy perdiendo,
sí,
está oscureciendo.
ahora sí, mira, ahí está.
Ándale, mira,
¿Eh?
hermano, ahora sí.
Ahí está.
Pero el video tuvo excelente también. No nomás las palabras, ¿verdad? Pero el video, excelente,
Yes.
hermano.
Sí, y fíjate, yo me sentí en ese tiempo, I'm not worthy, because, mind you, the album was, I belong to Los Palominos. In other words, la band Los Palominos
Right.
was a priority in Freddie Records,
Sí.
and which is going to take me to the next step que te iba a decir, porque eso pasó July. Y ya empecé a preparar todo, whatever, and I started getting this conviction from God, like, porque yo me hallaba like, what am I going to do? I needed, God was kind of tugging in my heart. Hey, I want you to you said that whenever porque I had been praying to God, I know the impossible is possible for you. I want to get out of the band, but I don't want to leave him without a job. I don't want to leave him. I don't want to make him stall. Pues COVID hit. Nobody was playing. Nothing was going on.
Él solito lo hizo, ¿no?
Sí, él lo hizo. Well, he was staying in my heart saying, hey, okay, now? So, in October, me acuerdo que we went to church. Yo estaba sintiendo eso over and over. We went to church, and the pastor there said, we're going to have service. We did the worship. After the worship, he said, I just want y'all to, people here, if we want to share what God has done with your lives and stuff, talk about what God has done in your life. Yo me levanté la mano también, and by the time I got my turn, I went up there, and my wife was like, Johhny, I didn't understand anything you were saying, But para terminar, ahí esa noche yo decidí, this was November 4th. Dije yo, everybody pray for me, because right now, I decided to leave the world. I decided to leave everything that I've done in my life as a musician in the world, and I'm going to dedicate everything to God.
Wow.
No, se acabó that reason everybody started praying for me. The next day, I remember getting home, that night, and I was praying, God, I want to feel you. I want to hear you. I want to feel the Holy Spirit. Y a veces le digo a la gente, be careful what you pray for. The next day me levanté shaking. Me levanté like desesperado, like wanting to run and whatever. And then I would hear a voice, go to your parents. Go to your parents. So me arrancó para que mis parents is November 5th, brother. Y me arrancó para mis parents, y on the way over there, I was like, I gotta call Freddie, because I'm about to break up Los Palominos. You know what I mean? I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So I go over there, le hablo a Freddie, no contesta. So when I get there, I start talking to my parents. Mira, esto, I'm about to do this. I decided to do this anoche, esto in church or whatever. Y mi mom, me acuerdo, porque gracias a Dios todavía los tengo. They're both 81 years old.
Gracias a Dios. Yes.
Gracias a Dios. Y estaban, bueno, mira, ustedes ya tan grandes, ustedes ya saben lo que hacen, ustedes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it took 30 minutes talking to him, and de repente me dice, my wife, Freddie had called and she got the phone. She was talking to her. Y dijo, I already told Freddie everything. Le dije todo, la situación que le iba a decir. Dijo, you know what, you want me to tell you what Freddie said? Y le dije, a ver, dime. Dijo, he said, this is a calling from God. You can't ignore it.
Wow.
We'll worry about los Palominos later. Right
That's
now it's
right.
about Johhny. Right now it's
That's
about
right.
Johnny's.
Yeah.
And we can't ignore that right now. Dijo, this is a very important moment for him. So dile que we'll support him 150%.
That's awesome,
Whatever he
brother.
needs, we're supporting. Por eso ya estábamos preparando el disco y todo. So I knew now that why they meant the video and whatever, because I knew Freddie knew what was going to happen,
He had a vision.
And
Yes.
sí, he had
Yep.
already had the vision. Y me
Yep.
acuerdo que nomás de volada donde me dijo mi wife eso, levanté el teléfono y le hablé a mi brother James. Le dije, mira, James, it's been something I've been wanting to tell you for a while. He said, le dije, but I didn't find the time or the place. Le dije, but ahorita te estoy llamando y te quiero decir que, right even before we start playing again, le dije, I'm not going to tour anymore. God's called me to do other things for him, and y se queda callado. And I felt like 30 minutes, but it was like
I'm
30
sure
seconds.
it's a shock at first, ¿verdad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
y me dice, queda callado un rato, y me dice, you know what, Johhny, I've been waiting for this call, because tú te veías diferente. Ya no era la misma persona. I would see that you were thinking of other things, and you were, whatever he said, and I thank you for calling me. And I still, we don't know what we're going to do. Dice, I need to still talk to the guys, what they're going to happen, what's going to happen. Bueno, I just didn't want to be, le dije, un estorbo, un
Right.
burden, or something
Right.
that's going to, dije, usted haga lo que tengan que hacer, y si necesitan mi ayuda, yo les ayudo.
Sí,
Dijo,
sí,
"Ok,
brother,
está
porque
bueno, ya."
estás hablando de una legacía que hicieron ustedes, ¿verdad? The last thing you want to do is to hurt that legacy, brother.
Exactly, y por eso digo, cuando grabamos este disco, no le digo a todos, pero te lo digo a ti, el disco este de El Orgullo de Uvalde, it's me on the album. That's why it sounds Palominos 100%, because it's all Palominos together.
Yeah.
The picture says something else, but
Right,
the album
right.
says, and porque le dije, yo te ayudo, los voy a ayudar. So that album, we went and recorded it, and como si we hadn't played for 2 years.
That's awesome.
And every song
Yeah.
came out in the first, second take. So
Wow.
because there were oldies, a lot of songs that we had already played when we were kids and stuff.
Sí.
Pero we had fun. It was kind of like a reconnection with my brothers también, and it had a lot of things. It was something that I needed. Everybody needed as a family.
Oye, Johhny, una pregunta, because I had Elida on, ¿verdad? Y tocó que right after I had her, she had just, accepted Jesus in her life as well, man.
Right.
She became born again.
Yes.
Y le digo yo, Elida, oye, Elida, how did you feel when you accepted Jesus in your life and so forth? Everybody explains it as to, you thought everything was in focus, but
Right.
once you take that step, man, it's like crystal clear all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What was your like, because you carried that whole, como dice uno, ¿verdad? You carried that cross, brother, not only for the group, but for your brothers and your family.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se sintió, brother, after everything was accepted and everybody was good with it?
Pues fíjate, son dos cosas, brother. Son dos cosas que me pasó. En dos ocasiones me pasó. La primera fue en 2008 when I was going through all that chaos. Picture my wife being rechazada by the whole family, and
Right.
then with my ex, another to add, to the equation, and then going through all that stuff, and pasamos por eso, y me acuerdo que sentí un alivio. Yo sentí una carga que se me cayó, pero una carga de todo la drama, everything that was going on with the family, the everything. And cuando le hablé a mi hermano ese día que te platico that I was talking to my brother, it was another thing that happened, because sentí otro alivio, and the first time que sentí era the Holy Spirit for the first time hugging me, porque sentí como que me echaron agua caliente en la espalda y me sentí como, de repente me dieron unas ganas de llorar, brother.
Sí.
Like I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop crying. I was crying like for all the years that I never cried, and de sentimiento, como like entregándome todo. Y la segunda vez fue en 2020, cuando le hablé a mi hermano, sentí una carga de ahora la responsabilidad con los Palominos, del grupo. Yo todo el tiempo estaba con el teléfono, a veces no podía dormir porque ¿qué vamos a hacer? ¿Dónde vamos? Y ¿dónde vamos a? I would do the bookings, I would do the Facebook,
Todo.
I would do everything, brother, the PR, the interviews, lo que estamos haciendo ahorita. My brothers nunca no son de ese tipo de personas que los vas a agarrar para hacer un interview porque son de arranque, son,
Sí, sí.
in other words, yo pienso como que, make a long story short, es la música entró a mi familia through me, y yo soy el que amo la música tanto de que yo me entrego a esto, brother, y this is my life, this is what I
Yeah.
do. My brothers, I feel that they got dragged into it. They got dragged
Mm,
into it, but they started liking it because, no le trabajaron a nadie. In other words, this is what
right,
they do for a living. And they're
right.
all professional musicians, brother. They're all
Yep.
extinguished musicians. Pero que digas tú que, no sé, apenas preguntándole a ellos si aman la música tanto como la amo yo, brother. Yo
Mhm.
amo la música y amo mis fans, amo a los medios, porque yo sé que ustedes son los responsables para que nosotros lleguemos a los lugares que vamos a llegar, a la gente que vamos a alcanzar, y a la gente por aceptar la música. A mí me encanta estar entrevistando porque I like to tell people what I'm going, what I'm doing, what I'm going to do, the plans and stuff like that. Y por
Yeah.
eso te digo, la segunda parte fue que sentí ese alivio de la responsabilidad de los palominos, and ahora que I was really on my own, and I was
Right.
really like, okay, porque there was something, brother, al último, de primero todos me seguían y yo les dije, vamos a hacer esto, vamos a hacer lo otro, y ellos lo decían. Después ya, we get older, we're in our 50s, or late 40s, early 50s, ahora cada quien tiene su opinión.
Exactly.
Ahora ya no era de que, hey, podemos hacer esto y me van a seguir, A veces me sentía como que yo tenía una decisión de hacer algo, y yo tenía un plan, I was excited and I want to do it. No todos estaban de acuerdo. So we
Right.
wouldn't do it. So it wouldn't
Right.
happen. And
Yeah.
it was a drag, it was a down. It was
Oh, yeah.
te
Yeah.
tumbaba, brother. Y
¿Cómo no?
ahora que hago lo mío, I'm excited porque yo lo hago para mí. In other words, si yo quiero mañana levantarme e ir a hacer radio todo Estados Unidos, me arranco,
Yeah.
O quiero hacer algo, tengo un plan de grabar una canción, no me hago Freddy, yeah. Still open, yes. I want to come in tomorrow, I got this idea, boom, boom, boom. And that's happened a lot of times. Ahorita tengo como 3 o 4 o 5 canciones ahí grabadas for the next album,
¿Están listas?
pero sí, ¿por qué? Porque I just love music, y me encanta everything about it, even ahora I've gone to learn about that now I'm starting to like radio, being the DJ and stuff
Sí,
like
vamos
that.
a hablar de eso, brother, ahora, porque primero que nada, muchísimas gracias, brother, por ver, llevarlos por ese viaje, porque qué bonito tragedia, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Que tuvieron, y luego al momento que tú decidiste aceptar a Dios y seguir tu carrera. Pero ahora, como dices tú, no nomás es eso, estás experimentando con la radio también, Johnny. Y parece que
amen.
pues hasta mañana te mandé saludos, brother, y right away me mandaste para atrás el saludo. Muchísimas
Yes,
gracias.
no,
Pero
nada.
oye, Johnny, me parece que se está parramando muy bien la radio, brother. Platícame un poquito de eso,
Sí.
brother.
Bueno, son estaciones que estaban aquí en Uvalde, ¿verdad? And for the longest time we were younger, y ahora ser parte de, make a long story short, now we're parte de la compañía to where me and my wife run the stations. Es una tejana, es una country, y la otra es a hits radio. And the hits radio, we're turning into a Christian station, which is going to
Okay,
be like a K-Love, but English
got it.
Spanish.
Right.
And the Tejano, pues ahorita I'm the morning guy, I'm the morning host, and Levántate con
Johnny in the
Johhny se
morning.
llama el show,
Eh,
Levántate con
eh,
Johhny, and I love it. ¿Por qué? Porque es otra cosa que nunca había hecho experiment, ¿verdad? And I love it because I get to sit there and listen to music or play music and talk to people, y más la interaction with the people,
right,
la
right.
gente a veces gente que me están viendo de todas partes, están escuchando de todas partes, me doy cuenta también de los seguidores que tenía yo con Palominos. Muchos se quedaron a seguirme a mí ahora,
Hey,
y
hey,
hay muchos que they're spiritual también.
right.
And I'm stoked with that, porque, hay mucha gente que necesitan, y para eso estamos en esto, hermano, para traer a la gente. Mucha gente saben de Dios, pero no conocen a Dios,
Correcto.
Una cosa es tener una íntima relación con Él, y eso es lo que estamos tratando de hacer. Of course, I play regular music,
Yeah.
but I put in 2 or 3 songs an hour, Christian music, and then I'll do the morning prayer, or do the salvation prayer at the end, things like that. ¿Por qué? Porque uh, if I would say, okay, I'll go in and just do a complete Christian show, you know, I might scare some people away,
Right,
because some
right,
people are not ready for church.
right.
And I'm saying they're not ready because maybe a lo mejor de rato, they start
See,
getting into it, they start getting that
that's right.
hunger,
Yeah.
and y por eso me doy, yo sé que es Dios que me puso en este lugar porque Dios te pone en lugares para usarte, ¿verdad? En otras palabras, ¿para qué me quiere a mí en la iglesia?
Hmm.
Eso es
That's
lo que
right.
veo yo. A lot of
Yeah.
people saying, porque ya he tenido discusiones con pastores, ¿verdad? Y no, Johhny, que pues está mal, hay mucha distracción, y le digo, sí. Le dije, pero ¿tú te puedes meter a un club y hablarle de Dios a alguien?
Right.
No, le digo, bueno, yo sí.
Yeah.
Yo sí, ¿por
Muy
qué?
cierto,
Porque
muy cierto.
la gente me va a ver como uno de ellos.
Yeah.
Y yo no lo voy a asustar o ya ahí viene
Hmm.
nos va a hablar de Dios, no. And
Yeah.
tampoco I'm not going to change, I'm going to be the same person, brother.
Right.
Y por eso lo mismo aquí en el show, la gente, I love your show, y la gente de
Yeah.
aquí de Uvalde, right? I love your show and I love the show, and I always wait till the end because I know that at 10 o'clock you're going to do a prayer, y que whatever,
Eso
and
es lo
some people like that.
importante. Yeah.
And when you get people excited about that, I mean, I know that I'm doing something different.
That's right.
I'm making a difference,
Oye,
in
Johhny,
what
y
I'm
es
doing.
importante también, no nomás, you don't, I mean, in other words, you don't have to be in Uvalde to listen to your show. They can
Exactly.
also get it via the internet, ¿verdad?
Exactly. There's a link, ahorita we're working on an app, getting an app ready for that. Pero
Okay.
as far right now to start off with, tenemos el link. And I always post a picture on my Facebook. Pongo mi Facebook en la mañana, good morning, pongo una foto mía, un selfie, and then I put the link. ¿Dónde me estás escuchando? Where are you listening
Mhm.
from? And
Yep.
it's just a link, and you click on it, and you can
Y
listen to me.
pum, te
And
lleva derechito al radio.
te
Bueno,
lleva derechito lo que está pasando.
vamos a hacer esto, brother. Vamos a avisarle a todos cómo se pueden enlazar por Facebook. Es bajo nomás Johhny Arreola, ¿verdad?
It's bajo Johhny Arreola, el Palomino Mayor, because I know there's a lot
Ándale.
of Johhny Arreolas. I know that you come to find out that there's a lot of people here sharing your name, right? Pero el mío es el Palomino Mayor. When you find el Palomino Mayor and I'm there with my accordion, you got the right guy. So,
That's it.
as you
Yeah, no, gracias a Dios. Oye, y antes de irlos, un saludito también, como dices tú, a la gente Martínez. Muchísimas gracias a Freddy, the Legendary Studio, ¿verdad? Legend Studio, Mark también. Pero, and like you say, man, when you talk to people like that, it's amazing after you get done through a conversation how good you feel. Hasta como cuando platicamos, sharing testimony back and forth, life lessons, como nombramos nosotros, ¿verdad? It really makes a person feel better, man. So, yeah, sigue adelante, hermano. Felicidades. Hay cualquier cosita, ya tienes tu casa aquí. Le mandamos saludos a todos. Diosito se me cuiden, and we'll see you next time.